from a really cool young filmmaker named Chris Hershman. He is an artist, he's a performer, and he makes music videos. And if you have that excitement of watching music videos, maybe you want to learn how to make one. Let me introduce to the Nikon Theater stage, Chris Hershman from Chicago, Illinois.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Really glad to be here. And like Mike said, I'm going to show you what I do with Nikon cameras, which is I make music videos. And we have Emily Blue with us to demonstrate some live techniques. And I'm going to show you how I approach filming both live music videos and conceptual music videos and kind of where that content lives. I'm also going to show you how I do small shoots, technically get involved in the new features of the Nikon D850, and then show you some really awesome high production value music videos that we shot on the new Nikon D850. But I want to get you a little familiar with the work that we do, so I'm going to show you about a 45-second clip of the last year's worth of music videos. So let's check it out. Awesome. So that's the last year of us using Nikon cameras to film music videos, and everything that you saw there basically was shot on a Nikon camera. And everything that you see from here on out is shot on a Nikon camera. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is they look fantastic. And I guess to know me, I'm a little like, I can't sit still. So I don't want to like work on a project for months and months. I want to have a workflow that moves along fairly quickly so I can go to one band to the next. And my specialty is to make great looking content as quick and as affordable and efficient as possible. And that's where I've landed on the Nikon D850. This is by far one of the coolest cameras for cinema use or just shooting video. And for me, I was a photographer who bought a new Nikon camera, and the Nikon camera had video features, and I was like, well, I'll try this out. So I grabbed a friend's band, and I just tested out the video features on my camera and made a music video. It was my first one. And then after that, I just realized it's super easy to make it on these cameras, so I kind of fell into a filmmaking career. I do photography as well, and the thing, again, that I love about the Nikon is that it's so quick to flip from photo to video, and you can use the same lenses. And I'm going to go through what lenses I use for video that I find to be best. And again, I'm going to do a live demonstration with Emily here. I'm going to show you how I approach filming music videos. Again, to reiterate, it's so easy to use these cameras to make videos. And it's not just music videos. So Riley and I, give a wave, Riley. Riley and I drove here from Chicago to be here at CES this year. And we're just people who, I know I said I couldn't sit still for a long time, but we were jumping out of the car and using the cameras that you see on stage to film a little road trip. So I just want to show you what I edited in about 20 to 30 minutes once I arrived here to Las Vegas. So here's our road trip. It's real quick. There you go. We made it to Las Vegas. So literally just made this on the way here. There's no color correction. It's just us putting the cameras up, having fun, and it's easy to do. So I'm going to show you how I make music videos as easy as I make road trip films. So starting out, again, this is the new Nikon D850. My favorite feature is the fact that it's 4K full frame. So it uses your entire frame of the sensor. Instead of punching in or losing any kind of, or if you have to like crop in to do 4K, it's just the full frame. You get to use your same lenses, and it's super beautiful 4K resolution. The second thing that is by far my favorite new feature on this camera is the 120 frames per second slow motion. I first tested this out at home, and I was amazed. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this play. This was the first shot I took, and I was like, I'm sold. This camera rules. So that was a test shot. Again, I did a lot of test shooting before I filmed the last music video that I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you behind the scenes of how I liked using the slow motion on my latest music video. Let's check it out. This is us getting it set up, and action. You can see things that are in motion, that vibrate, look insane in slow motion. And I believe we threw a little bit of baby powder on those drums too. And you can speed ramp it up, or you can slow it down. It's just a beautiful feature to have in your camera. So that is by far something I've been waiting for, and I'm so excited that it's in this camera. So let's keep going through all the cool new features that are in the Nikon D850. Focus peaking. So these are some of the next couple features I'm going to go into are things that you would typically find on higher-end cinema cameras, or just something that you need out in the field, you know, while you're doing documentary work or broadcast. These are just fun tools that this camera has, and it's a photography camera and a video camera. It's amazing that it has all these features. So this is the focus peaking, and it's really easy to narrow in your subject. We're going from a microphone over to a drum kit in the foreground, and you can see the outline of it in red, and that's indicating that it's in focus. So all of these features are really cool. When you package it all together, it makes like one of the ultimate video cameras, in my opinion, for a small package that you can run around cross-country and not worry about carrying around a $100,000 cinema camera. You get the same look. So zebra stripes, or you know, a highlight meter, in case you blow out, you can see the highlights here have the zebra stripes, and you can adjust it, your exposure. It's just another feature that's really helpful on this camera. And then, of course, the tilt and touch screen is by far one of my favorites. So let's say I'm filming something here. I don't have to come down here. I could just take a look and tap on my focus. That's the great thing, too, is that they've added touch screen, touch focus. You can maneuver through the menu really easy through the touch. It's really nice, and I'll show you some more footage of that as well. But let's keep moving through. We've got the mic and headphone input. As you can see up here, we've got basically like a really nice, you know, interview setup camera built out, and we've got the ME1 that you can throw on top of your camera. Again, to have your mic inputs and a headphone output, to have all of these outputs and inputs, features like the focus peaking, just make it an overall really awesome camera to use for video. And we got an HDMI output, which I'm going to show you how I use that later. And we've got an Atomos monitor / recording device here that we're going to run an uncompressed, clean HDMI signal to. So it may save a little bit of information in your highlights and your shadows, so that if you want to do any color grading or color correction in post, you can kind of push it a little further without, you know, crushing it or turning it, you know, making it a bit noisy. So. And then the electronic vibration reduction is an internal setting. I'm going to go through how the Nikon lenses have great VR vibration reduction in their lenses, but now they've added it in their sensor. This is great because if you're doing handheld, let's say you don't have tripods, you don't have shoulder rigs, you just want to do something handheld real quick, you can go into your camera's feature, turn on the electronic VR, it pushes in a little bit, but it smooths out your image. So they've really thought this camera through, and I've had it for about 2 to 3 months, and I have not been able to put it down. It's been great. And then color profiles. So again, I can't spend too much time color grading and doing all kinds of posts. I want to assemble it. I want to put it to music. I want it to feel good. But I also just want to move on to the next project. But that's great with Nikon because I have a lot of different color profile options. Here's a few of them. The same scene. Let's say I want to go flat because I want to do some color grading later. Or if I've got some really great color in my scene, I can do vivid or standard. So for this, I'd probably pick standard or flat. But you get a good idea of the different contrasts that they create. It's the same image. OK, so let's move on to lenses. This is by far my favorite thing to talk about because the glass on Nikon lenses are beautiful. And they're amazing. They're great for video as well because they have vibration reduction. I'm going to start with my first new favorite, which is the 20mm 2.8. I think it's actually a 1.8. Might be a little typo here. But this is a new prime that they've come out with. In past, I would use maybe a 24-70 to do something that wide, or a 14-24, but those kind of get a little distorted for me. So the fact that they came out with a prime lens, and you'll see how we used it here in this video. Oh, let me go back. This is different ways that we use the 20mm on our shoots. If you're creating really beautiful cinematic shots, you can see that it doesn't distort around the edges. And this is us doing some movement, putting it in motion. And you can see it just looks really beautiful, very crisp. And I didn't know how much I would love shooting a wide angle again. But I've loved it. We put it on this camera jib to shoot these wide angles of this band, which I'll show you this full music video in just a little bit. And there's Emily Blue on the 20mm as well. It's just a great lens. It's very clear. It doesn't distort. This is one of my favorites. And this is the vivid profile. You can see how beautiful, how bold those blue colors are. That's when I would use a profile like vivid or something like that. All right, so let's keep moving on. The 24-70, this has probably been a standard lens in a lot of photographers' packs. For me, I was excited to find out that they had that they've added VR to it, vibration reduction. And the entire road trip here, I just sat that camera on my dashboard, and it just stayed so smooth because it had VR. And then I picked it up, turned it out of video mode, and would shoot photos. So again, I really love going between photography and video, mixing the medias. You know, this is a series of still images, the actual video that we're looking at now. So I'm a big fan of using the same camera to do multiple mixed medias within digital photography and video. All right. One of my favorites, 70-200. This is a classic lens. This is so beautiful. I have it on the shoulder rig here, and I'm going to show you in just a minute what it looks like in person. And then my new favorite, this is a really, really awesome bad boy lens. This is the 300 2.8 VR2. And that's this lens that we have here, and the compression on this thing is insane. If you want the focus to be just paper thin, this is a really fun lens to just blow your background out and your foreground, just have your subject pop out. I think it's used mostly for sports and lifestyle and getting those hummingbirds, but I love using them in music videos. And that's a great thing. You use these for anything, you know? All right, so next up, camera movements and how we're moving our cameras. I've got it on a tripod here, very basic, and I have a shoulder rig. But when you're doing a music video, for me, I'm trying to find camera movement that matches the energy of the song. If it's something slow, I'm going to probably do a slow track in on a dolly or on a slider left to right. But if I've got a fast song, I'm gonna probably move my camera around a lot quicker to match the energy of the song. And then finding the groove. I'm going to show you just a minute actually finding the groove, so we'll come back to that. Using VR and EVR, again, that new feature of the sensor inside of there can create some of the smoothest, most professional looking footage. And that's the point of the whole game for me. I want to pull off the most professional, smooth looking images. And I do it because these cameras have all of these features that help you smooth out all of the small little bumps and it's just great. It makes it look like you're a professional even if you just started. So, and then editing to kick and snare. So whenever you're going into your edit, if you're if you're like, where do I start? I like to find the kick, and I like to find the snare, and then I kind of edit in between all of that within the movement as well. And experiment. Experiment with motion. We have done some really wacky stuff, thrown cameras on dollies really quick, on jibs, and we just experiment as much as you can. Don't get locked in. Try something different. For me, here's how I got to where I'm at. I started with a simple technique, and I built on it, and I built on it. And someone asked me to make a commercial, and I built on that same technique. And then when you keep building on these small techniques, you kind of collectively create a bag of tricks, you know? And so you're just constantly growing on these bag of tricks, and it's easy. You got to start somewhere, but that's kind of my thoughts on camera movement. Let's move into getting some unique shots. So that's moving the camera. Here's some unique equipment that we use to get really cool shots. This is a 3-axis stabilizing gimbal, and we've got Riley over here demonstrating some drums and me moving around him. So this is great if you have a subject that's still and you want to move around him or her or it or whatever. And if you've got something that you're chasing or following, it's a great stabilizing gimbal to kind of smooth out your image. This is some of the tools that we use on our film sets. All right, so I'm a drummer. That's where I started. And for me, I just did not feel like people were giving drummers enough love when I got into filmmaking. So I decided I was going to show the drummers some love. And I decided I'm going to mount cameras above drums. And I used the Nikon remote to do that, and I'll show you how right now. So we use the remote and the receiver. We put it into our camera, and then I have a remote similar to this. I can assign that remote to focus on wherever my focus point is, and I can also set it to record. So I just lift it in the air, I can focus, and then I can hit record. And I don't have to bring a big ladder, which is what we used to do, to get these really unique shots. So you can kind of see how we create this look. And that's me hitting record, focusing on the drumsticks, on a snare, hitting record, going at it. Let's take a look at that footage. All right. Next, creating simple music videos. I'm going to show you 2 music videos back to back. I like using one camera to film a band performing live in one take. For me, I'm a live performance, photographer and filmmaker, so I just appreciate the live performance. I think any band can sound good in the studio. You can polish it up and it sound great, but can you pull it off live? And when I got into filmmaking, I was like, that's what I want to show. I want to show authentic musicianship, and I want to show talent that deserves to be exposed. And that's also why we have Emily Blue here today. You'll get to hear her in a second. So let's go ahead and take a look at a creative way of filming a music video in one take.
I will buy you a boat and take you over the land. To the Cape we'll go, walking hand in hand. The sea will go out, revealing all that stands. Hello, 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 hello. Out the flotsam in the river, so that we won't run aground. To the middle of everything that means nothing at all. If days fade to gray, I'll be the here and now. Hello, 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 hello. How can I be so
You know, there's times when you should put a lot of money and budget into making a video, but then there's that time where you just need to sit down and think of a creative way to tell a new story, or tell an old story in a new way. And that's what I really love about that. It's finding a unique perspective on how to show a band performing live. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can use one camera and create really interesting content. And that's how I got hooked on making music videos. Again, we're going to go and show you one of the largest scale productions that we did. But first, I wanted to get Emily up here because I want to show you hands-on just how easy it is to throw these into live mode and shoot some videos. So if you wouldn't mind doing a little bit of singing for us, that'd be great.
This is a dream, you're far away, up to your ankles, up to your knees, up to your face, your face. This is a dream, you're far away, up to your ankles, up to your knees, up to your face. Don't you love just how it tastes?
Yeah, keep playing guitar, but I'm finding that groove. And it calls for something a little smoother, right? Not chaotic, and it's nice to do a VR lens handheld because it just smooths out the image. And I'm just using my focus ring here and my zoom to quickly snap back and forth. And I'm gonna find different angles around real quick. Thank you, Riley. You want to hit me with another chorus or a verse real quick? Here we go.
Stay for a while, stay for a while. Don't let the strangers take away your smile. Your smile. Stay for a while, stay for a while. Don't let the strangers take away your smile.
Awesome. And when you're shooting music videos and details of musicians, you just want to, find the right angle to show off the playing and the details, whether it's maybe the guitar's headstock or the way she's playing or the socks she's wearing, these cool Gumby socks. I don't know if we can see this still. That's great. Okay. Thank you so much, Emily. But yeah, it's very simple. It's very easy. There's nothing added to this system other than an external monitor, but you can see it just looks nice and clean. Thank you so much. The last thing I want to talk about is the latest music video that we produced with the Nikon D850. And this is for a Chicago band, Company of Thieves. I guess they live in LA now, but they're going on a new tour, right? And I was asked to create a music video for them. And I just had this idea to just use the Nikon and try not to color correct it at all. So what I'm about to show you is a new music video for the Company of Thieves. And it's all shot on Nikon. This is by far the biggest production we've done with these cameras. And I think when you realize it's not colored, kind of sends your head for a loop. And everything that we show in frame is done as a practical effect. Being that there's no motion graphics or anything done in post other than just chopping up the actual footage that we shot and putting it into place along with the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Company of Thieves Treasure music video.
1, 2.
I'm gonna have to skip through a couple stuff here because we're slow on time, or we're behind. But here you go.
Citizens exercising their constitutional right to assemble.
You're a treasure to me, to
Well, if you're wondering what the video on the Nikon D850 looks like, that's it. Straight out of the camera. Cool? Thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening. If you guys want to share work or talk after, we can talk, but also if you want to follow the work on the website or social media, we can do that as well. But just know, it's about being creative. It's simple. It's really simple. It's just a matter of getting out there, getting started, hitting record for the first time, throwing it into your editing software, and making your first video. So hope you learned something. Hope you were inspired. Thank you guys so much for having us.